Tax day, baby. Pay your bill because millions on welfare depend on it. We got fraud to pay for, sexual misconduct in Congress to cover up, billions of money going to other countries that give us absolutely nothing in return. Oh, and don't forget the $40 million a week that we're still giving to the Taliban as of today. But the good news is it's less bad this year than it was over the last 4 years.
Thanks to promises made, promises kept, through the working families tax cuts, the president has delivered the record refunds to the American people. The average refund this filing season is over $3,400.
Sounds great. And yes, Trump's big, beautiful bill stole less money from us in taxes because, again, tax changes is theft. But don't ever celebrate a tax refund, folks. I would rather under withhold all year and pay at the end of the year, because if you get a tax refund, it's because you gave the government an interest-free loan all year. And this is probably the first time I've ever heard the government say this or understand it, that you and I know how to spend our money better than the government.
President Trump and Republicans in Congress have always believed that the American people know how to spend their money better than the government does.
Thank you, Caroline. The best part about this is the government steals more money from you by forcing you to do the work for them. And the average American actually spends 13 hours and almost $300 to file their taxes. I mean, think about what a scam this is. There's the G-man comes in. Hey, you owe us taxes. You say, oh, okay, how much? Well, you have to figure that out. You should actually hire somebody to help you do it. And you're like, oh, okay, you don't know how much I owe you? They're like, nope, no idea right now. And you say, okay, well, what if I get it wrong? Well, the G-man comes back and says, you go to jail. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. You're sitting there like, word, here we go. Every year I sit there and wonder the same thing you're probably thinking. What the hell does the 100,000 IRS employees, at least under Biden, do all day? Watch, now I'll probably get audited, but it's worth it. This is crazy how complicated our system is. And it's the government's fault, by the way. But as a result, we have to spend time and pay people with our own money, taxed money, of course, to make sure that we comply with their outrageous pile of laws. I go back to James Madison. Well, actually, I want to go back to the Boston Tea Party with our current tax code. But James Madison nailed it. He said, quote, if the laws be so voluminous that they cannot be read or so incoherent that they cannot be understood, he goes on to say basically they're irrelevant. Our tax code is 4,000 pages for just the initial laws. Add volume 2, another 2,600 pages. You've got some commercial tax notes in there, another 4,000 or so pages. But when you add in the footnotes and the annotations and the clarifications, it amounts to about 70,000 pages. But you got to make sure that you have this year's version, because the tax code has changed 4,680 times just from 2001 to 2012. We don't even have recent data of how many times it's changed. But if you did your taxes solely based on that, and I've told you this before, you would go to jail, because that doesn't account for the changes in the tax code that resulted from the additional 2 million pages of court cases won or lost that changed, clarified, or nullified various parts of that tax code as recently as last month. Keep in mind, the original federal tax sheet was 1% and 2 pages of instructions and 2 pages to file it on, that we were told back then in 1913 it was going to be temporary. And to think our founding fathers started a war over a 2.5% tax hike in a breakfast beverage, and look at us now. Now, most people think that tax day is because it gives you 3.5 months to file after the end of the year. Okay, that may be, but it also signifies the average date that most Americans actually start keeping the first penny out of their paycheck. Yeah, I'm basing this off a $250,000 salary a year, which is a very healthy income. You will work January and February and a bit into March just for the federal government in income taxes, Social Security, and Medicare with no deductions. That's the same Medicare, by the way, that is completely being defrauded by the billions right underneath our noses, and Democrats are covering it up. But it's cool. So now after you pay the G-man on the federal level, you're under 200 grand. Good news, too. If you make more money for the crime of paying more in taxes, the federal government graduated our tax code, so you're actually going to pay an even higher percentage of the more money that you make on top of that. And you get no additional representation. Just hand over more money to the government so they can light it on fire. And since I live in the Socialist Republic of Connecticut, let's do that one. We can tack on what we pay in income taxes there. I know a lot of states don't, but I do because I have nowhere else to go because I have to work here in Manhattan, okay? As high as 6.5%, another $16,000 off a $250,000 salary, bring you into the end of March now working for free just for the government. Maybe the beginning of April, who knows? I mean, depends. Now, you still haven't taken anything home yet. You're down to about 175 to 180 grand-ish is what you're taking home after just state and federal. But that's simply for working. Let's get into what you pay to just exist and live. If you own a house, you got property taxes, $5,000 to $10,000, depending on the size of the house, the town, or even how close you might be to water. You're down to 165 grand. You buy stuff. Groceries, things, gadgets, Wheedly Bops, anything. 6% and change in Connecticut. Well, that's probably about $4,000 to $5,000 a year for most people in that state. This goes in part to our bankrupt pension system that was so poorly managed by the Democrats. So now you're down to about 160 grand take home of your 250 that you were making. Now you got the gas tax, depending on how much you drive. This could be an extra G or two a year. Call it $159,000 salary. Don't forget your vehicle taxes, registration on top of that. Buy any booze, go out to dinner. If you have a dog, it's $19 if it's not neutered. But if you spend the $300 to get it neutered, they give you an $11 a year break on the dog tax. Okay? Most towns do these neat little things like assessments and permits, just another name for a tax. Sewer assessment, service charge for your electricity bill, permit to have a shed. That's still a tax too. Oh, you like fishing? Tax. They call it a license fee, but it's a tax. Oh, and when you pay that license fee, there's a 50-cent convenience fee for paying it on their website. Newsflash, also another tax. You want a gun permit? I think we're up to almost $200 now for that in Connecticut. A tax for a constitutional right in the Constitution state, in a state full of libs who call voter ID a poll tax, which is an equal right. Oh, you've got use tax. If you bought something out of state, you're supposed to self-report. Yeah, I'll get right on that. Trash tax, bottle deposit tax, an extra luxury tax on cars over $75,000, which is basically any new car now. Business license tax, hotel room tax, insurance tax, dry cleaning tax. Don't use the hospital, there's a tax for that too. Oh, calling 911, there's a tax for that too. But don't worry, that's already built in automatically to your mobile phone bill in Connecticut. You got greenhouse tax, whatever that is, because I already pay an emissions tax, so I guess that one's they're just taxing me for farting. Don't you dare die, by the way. They will tax you for that after hitting your family up for the sales tax on the coffin that they put you in. And add that up, and it can be another 10 grand of taxes, bringing you down to 149 and change a year. 100 grand gone to the government. So we basically work from January through May for free. So the greedy G-man can waste our money on shrimp running on treadmills and leering centers in Minneapolis so some Somali can ship the money back to Mogadishu. And for all that, the government doesn't even listen to us. For example, 83% of Americans support voter ID, and our representatives won't even pass it. But yet we're supposed to applaud a 2% cut. How about a 100% cut? Because the government laundered, stole, and wasted about $100 trillion in my lifetime. Tea, anyone?
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.